Hello, how are you? Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? I think now. Hello. Hello. Okay, now you can hear me. Now you can hear me, right? Let me check this. And I think that you can hear me now. Is that correct? Can you hear me now? I have my microphone moving, so I think that you can hear me. But okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So we are going to start. Um, Hello, how are you? I want to welcome you to the course of English for Business. This is for basic level. Today we're going to see session 3. This is about stakeholders, okay? Remember that this is part of the first unit, unit 1, and it is imports. So, and as usual, as always, your teacher Liliana Quipuzco. So we are going to start first with the course considerations, okay? Now, first, you must speak English during the entire conference. I know that it's a little hard sometimes if we don't speak very well or we don't write in English very well, but try to do your best. If you are not able to write or speak in English, you can do it in Spanish, but try to use English words. Um, Second, you can ask questions during the course of the conference. I have to teach this session like in not doing so many pauses, but if you have questions, just ask them on the group chat. So I will make a pause every a couple of slides and answer your questions. Third, I would really appreciate if you can share any anecdotes, experiences, or maybe any problems you have right now that are related to the subject so we can talk about them and maybe we can find a solution or maybe we can just discuss and give you an idea of what to do. And finally, fourth, at the end of each session, um, we will have an exam of uh, 5 multiple choice questions from today's class, from today's session, and also some questions about how the class was. So if it was good, if you feel it was good, how you kind of an exam slash a survey. Okay, the part of the exam, the part of the questions from today's session are multiple choice questions with 4 alternatives. Okay, so now we're going to start. We said that, okay, now we said that today we're going to see session 3 and it is about stakeholders. So the main question is, what is a stakeholder? Who is he or her, or is a company or is a product? So what is a stakeholder? Maybe you have heard about it. I want you to think for a couple of seconds if you have ever uh, heard the word stakeholder, if you know what it is, and try to just make a fast meaning in your head so we can compare it to what we're going to see on the dictionaries. So now, according to the dictionaries, and as usual, we're going to use Cambridge Dictionary and Oxford Dictionary. A stakeholder could be a person, There could be an employee, a customer, or a citizen who is involved with an organization or a society or maybe another kind of organization. Now, and therefore, this person that again could be an employee, a customer, or a citizen has a responsibility towards it, towards the organization or the society that he is involved in, and has interest in that organization to be successful. So, according to Cambridge Dictionary, a stakeholder could be a person, could be an employee of a company, a customer of a company, or maybe just a citizen that is related or interested in a company. In this case, he's going to be involved with this organization and he has responsibilities in it and he's very interested in do this do well these responsibilities in order to make it successful. Okay, now according to Oxford Dictionary, a stakeholder is a person that has an interest or is concerned in something, especially a business. So according to Oxford Dictionary, it's going to be a person who is concerned or has a lot of interest in a business. So if we mix these both meanings, we can get that a stakeholder could be a person that is involved with an organization, could be inside the organization or outside, because an inside would be an employee, and an outsider in this case would be a customer, someone that is not working inside a company. So it could be an insider or an outsider from an organization that has some kind of relation. So he has some responsibilities and he's interested in this organization, in this case, in this business, to be successful. Okay, so now we have a little bit more clear the meaning of stakeholder according to a dictionary. But this is just the main basic meaning of a stakeholder. What about if we ask ourselves the business meaning of a stakeholder? So if we do a little more research about the meaning of a stakeholder, we could find that a stakeholder, it is it is correct, could be not just a person, but could be an organization. Okay, so in this case, a stakeholder could be a person or an organization that can affect or be affected by the organization's actions, objectives, and policies. For example, we can find creditors. There is the in this case the person or company that is going to lend money. We can find directors. That could be the director of the company. We could find employees. In this case, the employees that work in this company that we are talking about. We could find the government. The government would be the government, municipality, or any other kind of entities or organizations from the government that are interested in this main company that we're talking about. Then also a stakeholder could be the owner of the company, the suppliers, the maybe person or the companies that are going to give or to sell products to this main company that we're talking about, and also the community. Okay, if we are talking about a community, we could talk about maybe a non-profit organization or maybe any kind of organization or just people from the community that are interested in a in a in an in the main company to be successful. For example, we said that a stakeholder can affect the main organization. In this case, we could say the importer organization. The stakeholder can affect the importer organization about related to the actions, objectives, and policies. So, if an employee, how can an employee affect an organization? So, if the employee doesn't do um, his or her work very well, he's going to affect negatively. In this case, he's going to have a negative impact in the organization. Now, the other way, how can a stakeholder be affected by the organization's actions? For example, in this case, we could take the example of a community. For example, if we are talking about mines, maybe you have heard about mines. We could talk about Cerro Verde. We could talk about Yanacocha. In this case, if this mine company doesn't do well in don't do well in its let's say in its profits, he's not going to have the amount of money, or he's not going to have enough money to pay a good canon. You know that the canon that mine companies have to pay. So in this case, the stakeholder that is going to be affected by this action is going to be the community, because they won't have this canon money in order to improve the community. Okay, so you can see here how a little stakeholders can affect or be affected by the organizations. Now, what if we talk about an importer company? In this case, if we're talking about an importer company, who can be our stakeholders, the main stakeholders? So we're going to see it now. In an import company, and a stakeholder could be the following. We have the importer, in this case, the importing company. And now, a stakeholder for the importer company could be the manufacturer. In this case, the manufacturer is going to be the person or the company that is going to process raw material and give a value, an added value. For example, if we are talking about importer of wooden decks, let's say, or maybe an importer of wooden closets, let's say. So the manufacturer is going to be the person who is going to process the raw material, in this case, who is going to process the wood, in order to give a value that is going to process and make the wood, to process it into the bed or into the closet. It's going to make all the stages to make this product. So for finally to give it to us, right? To sell it to us as an importer. So as manufacturer can affect my company if he doesn't do his products of a good quality, right? Or he could be affected because as as importers, if we don't have enough money to pay, or maybe if we have some, let's say, for example, if we were in Venezuela and we are not allowed to import from another countries, in this case, our manufacturer would be affected because he is not going to be able to sell the products to us. Okay? Now, another stakeholder could be the exporter. Okay? In this case, the exporter is going to be the one who is going to offer products to another company. In this case, a manufacturer could be also a stakeholder. Could be, not always. But mainly an exporter usually is the person who not only manufactures but also buys products that are already finished, done products, in order to just to sell us. You could find exporters, just plain exporters, let's say from online companies. Let's say if we talk about AliExpress or if we talk about eBay, most of them are not manufacturers. They just buy the products in bulk, in large quantities, and they resell. But they are in charge of resell abroad. So they are going to sell to another countries. Now, another a stakeholder for an importer company could be a freight forwarder. Maybe you have heard about a freight forwarder in Spanish, agente de carga. In this case, a freight forwarder is a company that is going to offer specialized services like consolidation of the goods, um, reception of the goods, storage of the goods, handling of the goods, and packing of the goods. Now, um, you're going to use two freight forwarders. The first freight forwarder is going to be in origin, in the country of origin. Usually, we buy in FOB or maybe in CIF, Incoterms. So we don't usually have direct contact with the freight forwarder from the country of origin. We usually have contact with the freight forwarder from the country of destiny. In this case, the freight forwarder that is going to be in Peru. So he's going to affect our it's going to affect our company if he doesn't do the processes of if he doesn't offer very good services because our products can be affected, and also he can be affected if we just decide that he's not a good company and we're not going to keep working with him, so he will lose a client, so he can affect and be affected. Okay, now another stakeholder could be the custom broker. For example, in this case, the custom broker is the person that is going to manage the custom procedure. The custom broker, let's say, is kind of our representative, is the company of the person that is going to represent us to SUNAT. In this case, SUNAT is the organization, as you may know, that is in charge of pay of taxes and customs. So this custom broker is going to do all the papers and he's going to ask for us all the documents that he will need in order to do all the custom procedure so we can import legally our products. Another stakeholder could be a distributor. In this case, a distributor is a company, usually a company, but could be a person also, that is going to supply the goods to stores and other businesses. Let's say that usually when we use a distributor is if we are a medium or a large company. If we are a medium company that is importing, let's say, computers, we will manage the selling of the computers, the buying of the computers from, let's say, from China. But there's inside this process of buying and selling, there's a procedure of sending the products from the storage to, let's say, to a retailer, let's say in Arequipa or maybe Trujillo. Maybe we don't want to get involved in it because we might think some strategy that it is not that much of an important task that we can outsource this task. In this case, would mean that we would hire another company to take care of this distribution, to send these products to where the products need to get to. In this case, we will use a distributor who's going to take the products from the storage and supply them to the stores and other businesses. For example, we see this a lot. I have seen it in sometimes, let's say, when this supermarket used to buy some products, uh, especially like the pan sauces and where you cook. They used to buy to a company, and this company who made the import process for them were their distributors also because they were in charge of supplying the goods to each store of Wong in Peru. Okay, so we could talk about distributing the products to another stores from the same company stores from another companies that are clients of our company and also other kind of businesses. Now, another stakeholder we can have is a carrier. A carrier is the one who's going to do the professional conveyance of the goods. It means it's the professional transport of the products. So we could talk about a carrier if we are talking about let's say if we are bringing the product from another company, and also we could talk about a carrier if we are talking about bringing the product from the port to our storage or to another storage or to another place that we would like the products to be taken to. In this case, um, of course, we can be affected if this person doesn't do their work very well, because if they don't do well their products, we could lose the products if he is not professional enough to know how to handle or how to transport the products. Okay, and finally, we could see the supplier. The supplier is a we could talk about the supplier as the person who supplies the finished product, and also we can talk about the supplier as the person or company that supplies raw material. In this case, if we were talking about the first example of an importer of wooden beds and closets, the supplier will be the person of the company that supplies the wood, the raw wood, to the manufacturer. So this person will supply the wood to the manufacturer so he can process the in this case the wood. Okay, so that would be some examples of stakeholders. Now, let's use the wood example to check a little bit of all the stakeholders. First, we were talking about uh, an importer company of wooden beds and closets. In this case, the supplier of the raw material will be the company that is going to supply the wood. This wood is going to be taken to the manufacturer. The manufacturer is going to process the wood and transform it into beds and closets. Then he's going to sell it to an exporter company, and this exporter company is going to offer these products to another company in another country. That is going to be us. After this person will hire a custom broker and a freight forwarder to do all these the procedures that they need to do in origin. He's going to hire a carrier, so he's going to do the professional transport of the goods to Peru. Once in Peru, we are going to hire a freight forwarder and a custom broker to do the procedures that need to be done in Peru, all the consolidation, the disconsolidation, the handling of the beds and closets, and also the custom procedures. In this case, the custom broker will help us or will ask us to do all the to give him all the documents that are needed for importing. In this case, would be if any payment requirements that or any payment papers that we might have. Also, we can talk about permissions, maybe because the products are made of wood, maybe we will need some permissions, or maybe we will need a letter of origin from the product to get, let's say, to get a better, to get benefit from the ad valorem. And finally, if we are not going to be the ones that are going to sell directly, or in this case, send directly the products, we will hire a distributor in order to supply these beds and closets to our stores and also to another businesses. In this case, will be to our clients. So that would be kind of an example of how to use a product. In this case the importing of wooden beds and closets to use the stakeholders. Now remember that if you're going to do an import, it doesn't mean that all of these you're not going to use all of these stakeholders. It is going to change. depending of what your company import and what you want to use or not. For example, let's say maybe we're not going to use an exporter. We will just have a supplier that is not going to be in direct contact to us. It's going to be in contact with the manufacturer, and this manufacturer is the one that is going to sell to us directly. So this will be that manufacturer and exporter. Also, we will not use a freight forwarder and a custom broker like two different companies. Maybe we are going to use um, let's say an integral logistic operator who is going to have these two services. So that's another way of how to let's say to mix companies and mix stakeholders. And maybe we won't use a distributor, we're going to do it ourselves. So maybe in another example, we will not use a distributor. Now, in the case of the carrier, we will always need a professional conveyance of goods. So in this case, we will always use a carrier. Okay, so that would be an example of how to use or how stakeholders are seen from the from an importer company perspective. Now, we're going to see the procedure to contact a stakeholder on Google. So in this case, we're going to see how to contact or find a freight forwarder or a custom broker from Google. Now, remember that you cannot only use or find a stakeholder from internet, in this case from Google. You can also find it uh, via, let's say, social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can also use references. But if we are new and we do not have any kind of experience, or maybe any kind of, or maybe we don't know people that know how to import and that can give us references, a very simple tool is to go to Google. So we're going to do that. I'm going to, let me see here. I'm going to share to you my screen so you can see how we can check for a stakeholder on Google. So I'm going to share to you my screen. Give me 1 second so I can log in. Okay, now here we are. I'm going to share to you so you're going to let me know if you can see it. Okay, here we are. So we are going to look for a freight forwarder. So if I don't know anything, if I don't know anyone who is a freight forwarder, I could just put freight forwarder in Google and use that. Now, in this case, as you can see, you're going to find just who's a freight forwarder, the definition of freight forwarder, but what we want to see is where are the freight forwarders. So if we go a little, scroll down a little, we're going to find here that Google sent us some examples. So we can put freight forwarder and we could put Lima. That is the place that we are. So now we have more companies. So let's say that I have the place that I am in, and I have some examples of freight forwarders. I can see that I have some Callao, I can see that I have some Lima, I have a lot of freight forwarders in San Isidro, in the Flores. So also I can see here the names of the company. So let's say if I am in, let's say, Callao, I could find freight forwarders in the Callao area and also find some in San Isidro or maybe Miraflores. So let's say, let's use an example. We're going to use this. So I could see here that he does the professional conveyance of goods, the the address, the telephone number, and the hours of working hours, right? You can see here that he is open until pretty late. He is open until 8 p.m. That it is quite it is not usual. But let's remember that if we're talking about imports doesn't have a schedule. It happens all the time. So in this case, it would be a good opportunity or a good point that this person, or in this case, this company, is open until a little later. So we could check the website, and if we just click, he's going to send us to his main webpage. In this case, we could find the services. He does freight forwarding services and door-to-door services. So it means from the door of your exporter to the door of the importer, in this case, us. So what we could do in order to contact them is just to click on the contact page. So we will have the mail, the telephone, and we can send them a message. In this case, what I would recommend is to call. If you send, usually if you send an email to the main email address, in this case, it will go straight to the receptionist, and sometimes the receptionist receive a lot of emails during the day. So you will get they they will take a little longer to get in contact with you. Also, if you do this and you send a message via the contact form, in this case, they also take a little bit because all the forms get to the main mail, to the main email address. So the main email address have a lot of emails. They will take a little longer to contact you. So what I would recommend to you is that you call them. So you can call and ask to get in touch with a sales representative. So in this case, the sales representative is the person who's in charge to sell the services. You will talk to the salesman or the sales person, and you will let him or her know what you need. So you will say, I need let's say I need the service of a freight forwarder, but I'm also looking for a custom broker service. So do you have this both? He's going to say yes. So you will answer, well, I have this product. I want to import a container of computers from China. The Incoterm is CIF. So I'm looking for, in this case, a company that can give me an integral logistics service of freight forwarder and custom broker. So maybe you have these services, and he will say, yes, I have. So here is my email, or maybe he will say, give me your email so I can send you a message asking you for the exact information. So they will send you a quote. In this case, you will receive a formal paper, or in this case, a formal PDF document with the cost of the services, especially for your product. Remember that in this case, I cannot give you how much a freight forwarder will charge you, or how much custom broker will charge you, because it is going to depend of the product that you're going to import. So if you're going to import a container, they will have a charge, a certain charge for you. If you're going to import less, they will have some other prices. If you're going to import computers, they will have some prices. If you're going to import batteries, let's say they will have another prices, because if we're talking about batteries, we're talking about products that are dangerous goods. So it's going to be a little it's going to be a little higher. The price is going to be higher than if we were talking about a product that doesn't need any kind of permissions, let's say. Okay, so that would be kind of the procedure on how to contact them and find them on Google. Now, you don't only have this option of seeing them in here in the map and have the information in here, but you can also just continue to scroll down and you're going to find more companies. So, for example, let's say this one. So we're just going to click the company, we're going to wait, and it's going to load all the information. Again, in here we can see that he is a freight forwarder and a custom broker, so this is good. He's going to be able to give us both services. We have the name of the company, the address, the telephone number, the contact form. Again, always try to use the telephone number. If you call and they ask you to use write on the contact form, well, you will need to do that and just wait. But sometimes, if you can direct talk to them, they will answer you a little faster. So that would be mainly how to contact them. Now, finally, you can also do the following. You can just be here and just make it large. So, okay, there we are. So in this case, you will find and you will see the complete map in large. And let's say we have here this company, so we can just click it and we are going to find all the information in here. We can find the references from our customers, and we can also find the main information. So in here we can find the website, we can click on it, we can have the address and the telephone number. So that would be how to use, in this case, Google in order to find a stakeholder. In this case, for a stakeholder, we're using as an example freight forwarder and a custom broker. So finally, I want to give you the following references. These are mainly the references where we took the information that we saw today. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we are. So this is the references where we take the information to do today's session. And finally, I want to thank you for your attention. I'm going to leave you on the group chat the link for the survey, exam survey, so you can take it in there. You can check again the video so you can have a little more of, you can just see again what we talked about today. Remember that today was session 3, stakeholders. I want to thank you again. I hope that you learn a little bit more. And this was your teacher, Liliana Quipuzco, so I hope to see you next week. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.